Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4, The New Order, Last Days of Europe, with me, Alpha Omega, and the Empire of Japan. So, today we're gonna start by doing two things. First of all, we're gonna read these two events, and then we're gonna have to review our policies, because we are currently involved in 3 conflicts. We're involved in the fight over Indonesia, which is our priority, but I do not think we'll need to do anything more there, since we are actually doing quite a lot using our armies. Second thing, we are involved in the fight over Colombia. We are supporting New Granada, which is something that we started with, but obviously we're not investing enough into that because they already cleared some positions. So we'll have to think about if that is worth our time. And last but not least, we have just gotten ourselves involved in a battle over Italy. So for now, let us look at the events, and then we're gonna look at those and decide what we're gonna do, because if we're gonna try to do everything, we're probably gonna fail at all of them. And weather for Nanjing. To our Asian brothers, a unique situation has developed as of late in the southwestern region. We felt it our duty as a proud member of the East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere to inform your government and most royal emperor of the nature of the situation. Our most recent intelligence suggests that an insane criminal by the name of Long Yun has escaped from prison and, along with a small handful of bandits, occupied the Shinan territory. Despite lack of equipment, popular support, and military experience, these disorganized brigands have won a baffling victory and deposed General Lu Han. His current whereabouts are unknown. We wish to make it clear that the Republic of China army is more than capable of crushing a feeble horde, but it would be foolish to discard preparations in its entirety. As such, we humbly request the temporary expansion of the Chinese military to crush this inconsequential nuisance. Additionally, we will transfer oversight of the remaining warlords to Japanese authorities to ensure continued peace and prosperity. To victory, the legislative yuan of the Republic of China. How much trouble could a few bandits be? Shinan. Hindu. Where is Shinan? It's Xinjiang. Or is it this one, the National Protection Army? Most likely Dali, Kunming, and Guizhou. Or is this completely unrelated? Because we have two. We have the NRA 24th Army, the National Protection Array here, and now we have Guangxi, State of Guangdong. I wonder what's going on in China. Do they have like a... Yeah, they do have an actual big focus tree and they're working through it. Preparing for the return of the king. Completed. Preparing for the worst. Inevitable war to shut down the rebellions. Find a few reasonable men. Will you die fighting against China? The garrison honor put Japan on short notice. Okay, so someone is actually stirring up stuff in China. We'll have to just follow it and see if we get involved, but more trouble on the horizon, I guess. Acting on the technocrats. Unacceptable! Sato Eisaku's exclamation echoes even in the small confines of the meeting room. Such is the passion in his voice. Ikeda, by contrast, is deceptively calm. An untrained listener might perceive him to be unruffled, but every one of his cabinet members knows him too well for that. Choose your next words very carefully, Minister Sato, he warns. Sato seems to realize he's overstepped, and he shrinks back a little, settling back into his chair, but his joy is still quenched with anger. We must do this, Eisaku, Hatoyama tells him. I understand that you and Kishi are close, but there is simply too much at stake to let the technocrats go unchecked. The Prime Minister understands this, which is why he decided to accept my suggestion to put Kishi under arrest. You know my misgivings have never stopped me from standing by either of you before, Sato says, but this is different. Attacking Kishi is a bridge too far. I'm surprised you'd even consider asking me to support you against my own brother. Despite the fact that Ikeda is still seated, he seems to loom over his compatriots, and the evening light from outside casts its shadow in sharp relief over the tan cedarwood of the conference table. I'm not asking you to do anything, he replies. I'm telling you what will happen. Your options are to accept it or to no longer be a member of this cabinet. Sato genuinely considers the second of those options for a moment, but his own position in the Diet has always been precarious, thanks in large part to the very brother Ikeda is now proposing to attack. Even if he defects to another faction, he'll be distrusted and sidelined there, unable to make near as much of a difference as he does in Ikeda's cabinet. He knows all this, and Ikeda knows he knows it. With a defeated sigh, Sato slumps back in his seat. Fine, he says bitterly, but the least you can do is not to make me part of your plans for Kishi. It's bad enough that I'm having to sit by while you target him. Don't ask me to stab my own family in the back as well. Your assistance won't be necessary, Hatoyama says. It's not exactly a reassurance, but he offers it all the same. Sato gives a despondent nod, and with that, his brother's fate is sealed, shaking down their excuses. Okay, so we finished tampering with the renovationists. And now the strategic purchase. Independence, faction power decreases, administrative efficiency improves. And we start working on the GDP. Okay, well, matter of the fact is that we're also fairly weak when it comes to the House of Cards at this point. I mean, okay, we're not, but the House of Cards will be dealt in your hand in 8 days. So that's going to be a thing for us to see. We don't need to do any more emergency reforms, at least not now. So conservative faction power will be decreased, the support will be decreased, and public approval will be decreased. Awesome. That's just awesome. So we'll be hit over heads with everything. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen afterwards. We don't really need. Wait, what the hell? Where did my political power go? Didn't I have 50? Did I do something? Hold on. Where did my... Did one of these cost 50 political power, or did I misclick somewhere and I didn't notice? Okay, so I reloaded the save file, and when I accepted the tampering with the renovationists, it took away 50 of my political power. I don't know why or what other things it had, because it did not show me anything when I hovered over the acceptance, but I think it probably changed also something for us in the diet, because we now have 230 MPs, and I think that's different than it was before. So at least that's that. However, that kind of means that we cannot really do anything when it comes to the battle for Italy. Cultural exchange points free. International reading. If Italy joins the core prosperity sphere, Italy will gain miscellaneous income. The political power gain would get a little bit of power. So the best thing that can happen, Italy was the heart of European Renaissance in art. So we would gain a little bit of daily political power gain and stability. The American proposal will fail if always false. Issue negotiations. If Italy keeps its independence... well, we cannot really do anything because we don't have any political powers, so I guess we'll have to wait and see what's gonna happen, because that's the only option there really is. Good. Well, I like when the game makes its decisions for me. That is always a great feeling. Either way, we're gonna continue with the war in Niger, and then we're gonna decide what to do next. Because, I mean, we don't have any political power right now, so, you know, what the hell could we do? So, strategic purchase. The people clamor that something has to be done about corruption, in spite of our earlier assurances that no such thing has occurred, and the Prime Minister needs an excuse to weed out some snakes from the den. This unusual coincidence marks one of the rare times in which the public opinion has made a contribution of value to national politics, and Prime Minister Ikeda fully intends to ride the public's outrage and direct it towards his irredeemable enemies within the Yugosankai and among the independents. Okay, well, let's do that, and let's check out on the EU. So we're taking Padang, and we're attacking over here. As I said, it is very likely that taking Padang will win the war for us. Yep, and it just did. Which kind of sucks, because that means that the Americans have been returned, I think. Okay, we're just gonna eliminate these, and because the area here is completely free now, we'll just have to move our units over here and finish the rest of the Islamic State of Indonesia, and then we are going to move to the last place, which is Sulawesi, Permesta Military Council, and then I guess the war is going to be over. Transitional government of Brazil steps down. Celebration all across Brazil today as the government of Odilo Diniz has stepped down in favor of the government elected by the Brazilian people following the tumultuous months after President Watt's removal. While the concession of Diniz and his government in favor of the democratically elected one is a reassuring sign, the political instability that has wreaked Brazil in the 50s is now haunting it well into the 60s, and many analysts are wondering if this new government can stave off the dogs of war and finally bring Brazil to steady outcome. Okay, so we've eliminated these guys. We're already moving north. Kubitschek elected in Brazil. As the Brazilian elections of 1965 come to an end, Juscelino Kubitschek enters Brazilia's Palácio do Planalto, whose construction he oversaw as the president of Brazil for the second time in a decade. As with the last time around, he ran as the candidate of the center-left PSD-PTB coalition. Compared to his previous ascension in 1955, when he had to rely on the support of the military to drive back a coup attempt, there has been a lack of chaos. Observers consider this an indicator of relative stability, unusual given that the tumult that surrounds the Brazilian democratic process. Kubitschek, not one to rest on his laurels, is already getting to work. Rumor has it that he will be instituting more of the massive infrastructure and construction programs that were his trademark during the first Kubitschek presidency. A known variable. Okay. So we own these territories. So let's send you guys... Actually, no, there's no point. It's done. We've already gotten it. So you guys need to go over there, because once we take this area, it's pretty much done. And the armies that are over here, 6th Infantry Brigade and the 24th Infantry Brigade will take the camp. Oh great! Kishi receives a visitor. Kishi Nobusuke is ultimately familiar with the working of secret police forces. After all, his iron-fisted rule over Manchuria could not have been maintained without one, and when stripped down to their bare essentials, he sees little difference between the Tokyo and the Yakuza gangsters he recruited to keep the Chinese in line. Both have their formalities, rank structures, wages, specialties of various fields, but in the end, the function of both had to do only with power. Which is why he's not surprised, as one might expect when the Toko officers kick down his door. Of course, that's not to say that he's not furious. As the cuffs are slapped on his wrists, he gives the thought police a glare he perfected for use on Chinese laborers and peasants. It's a look that conveys to the recipients that Kishi thinks they're the lowest of the low. He looks at them like there's something he scraped off his boot. Does Ikeda really think this will stop me? He snarls at the Toko. But they don't reply. In fact, they don't react at all. Kishi is not in Manchukuo anymore, where his word was law and his writ ran unchallenged. The wheel of history has turned, and for once in his life he has found himself at the bottom of it. Power is a fickle thing, and Kishi is about to be taught that lesson by the cold walls of a prison cell. Great. We lost more political power. And it's just amazing. The game is really determined to drag us through the mud. Which, in the end, fine by me. This is DEFCON 3. For a reason. Okay, I think, yep, they've been defeated. So what we need to do now is take these airplanes, send them here, and start flying over this area. We need to defeat the Permesta Military Council, which shouldn't be all that hard. We've done worse. Or better. Okay, real GDP growth is now up to 1.6%. That is amazing. Inflation dropped quite significantly. Euro deficit is still fine. Is poverty still increasing? It is. What of the population? Greater increases. Come on guys, move. The South Sulawesi emergency government has defeated the South Sulawesi guerrilla unit. Blue on blue. The soldier was a quiet one, everyone said. Didn't talk with others much. They never told anyone where he was from or why he'd joined the army. Not that anyone asked. All anyone cared about now in Indonesia, especially the foreign advisors, was that you could pick up a gun, point it, and pull a trigger. He was good at that, everyone agreed. Good enough to earn himself a clap on the back and free drinks at the pub. From the advisors, they were the only ones with enough money for that. He drank at first, although to put out an elephant, earning himself 2 days punishment detail. Later he didn't touch alcohol at all. The advisors were happy. They told him that he'd gotten used to the killing, just like them. When you could enjoy the full use of your senses, even after watching a montage of death and gore, then you knew you were normal again. Every morning, the soldier would listen to a readout of the changes along the line of contact. Mostly it was localized to the specific sector, but every so often a faraway city capture or destruction would be mentioned. A reminder, the officer said, of what they were fighting for. It had been a day as normal as any other, as the soldiers filed out, leaving the foreign advisors to discuss the day's objective. Before the soldier in question blew their brains out with a service rifle, painting the tent red before adding his own blood to the mix. Snuffed out just like the hometown nobody knew. Jesus Christ. Okay, hold on. Foreign policy. Now, anything here that we could do that doesn't cost? Can test the doctrine and Renegotiate. Authorize anti-bandit operations. Sure. Offer secure communication. Is there anything else here that we would like to have that would help us? No, the Intel network. Arms contracts. Support. Expands more arms shipments. Embrace recognition. I mean, that one is good. I'm not gonna forgive their debt. I mean, this would give them base stability and political power. We would get a little bit of GDP. So that might be a good one if we wanted to do something. But considering the way the game is treating our political power now, I don't know if we'll have even a chance at doing anything. But authorize bombing in Morocco. Authorize bombing in West Papua. Where? I don't see anything here of the sort. And current phase open warfare, and it's gonna increase further even. 12 more. Okay, so are you going? Yeah, did we just capture an airport? We did. South Sulawesi emergency conflict. Okay, we're already bombing them. Amazing job. Okay, there are some enemies over here, so I'm gonna go like so and split them. And you guys are gonna go over here. I'm gonna take Sulawesi and you will move through Ternate to Sorong into West Papua. Tiny Pontic. Okay, did you? Conflict escalates. I think it might have wanted to escalate, but it didn't. Or it is very close to escalation. But who knows, really. The Irish Republican Army steps down. Irish Garda officers have returned to Northern Ireland today after negotiations between Sean Lamass Taoiseach of the Republic of Ireland and Seamus Twomey, leader of the IRA, have concluded. The paramilitary leader has ordered his organization to stand down, having signed a treaty offering concessions from the troubled Republic. Okay. Chief among these concessions are total amnesty for those participating in the uprising, as well as total break from the Einheitspact. Germany has yet to comment on the proceedings. International observers worry for the economy of the island nation, which has been decimated when the Reich had been forced to abandon it at the onset of the German Civil War, as well as the geopolitical isolation that Ireland now finds itself in. Have the Irish finally stopped fighting each other? Okay, so what the hell? You were supposed to go over there, so go. And you were supposed to go here, so go. We need to continue pushing. Global conflicts are available. Strategic purchase. Well, go. So which of this area is friendly? Okay, they've actually taken quite a lot of territory. I was thinking that it wouldn't be like this, but it is. So you guys continue here. I'm gonna get in here and then go to Ternate. Fricota Manado. Okay, you can most likely attack up. That's an easy target. Jesus Christ, they have a strength of 8%. America wins the issue. Well, no kidding. Following weeks of intense negotiations between American, Japanese, and Italian officials in Rome, we have received the word that the Italian government is receptive to the American proposal at hand and will align themselves closer to the United States on the current issue. In Washington, State Department diplomats breathe a sigh of relief as Italy draws one step closer to the OFN and the free world, while their counterparts at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Tokyo curse under their breath at this setback. In Rome, government ministers nod solemnly for themselves, knowing that their decision will play a pivotal role in deciding the future of the Italian Empire for generations to come. The battle for Italy continues as the OFN and the co-prosperity sphere awaits the next summons from Rome to discuss what's next on the agenda. Well, we're gonna go over there. And you shall go eliminate them. Now you are going to go all the way over there. Completed, invested the programs in Italy. And you literally cannot. And we lost a ton of support in the parliament as well. Stabilize New Granada. Well, the stabilization is no longer necessary, but we might want to do something else there. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so we finished the next national focus, which is called Strategic Purges. The lists. Hatoyama enters Ikeda's office to a disconcerting sigh. The Prime Minister's desk is covered in photographs and files of other members of the Diet, all of them hailing from the opposition factions. It probably should be opposing factions. Ikeda is poring over them with a fierce grin on his face. I suppose this means it's time, Hatoyama asks. It is indeed, Ikeda replies, still grinning. We've already decided which faction to focus our efforts on. Now it's just a matter of who among them to purge. Hatoyama sits opposite his boss, settling down in a sturdy chair on the other side of the desk. You seem oddly excited about this, he says. Even more than you were when you decided to go on the offensive in the first place. Can you blame me? Ikeda looks up from his work to address his right-hand man. It feels good sometimes to be able to make demands and throw my weight around, rather than walking on eggshells to avoid breaking the great compromise that created this ministry. I suppose I can't, Hatoyama admits, but just because it makes you feel good doesn't obviate the need for caution and prudence. Yes, I know, interrupts Ikeda, a note of annoyance creeping into his voice. So let us plan how to cautiously and prudently purge our enemies from the Diet. Hatoyama leans over the papers, and the wheels of state begin to turn. Old habits die hard. Okay, now we have two options here. Both of them will take, so it just depends on which one we want to go with first. So we can go no more 15-year plans or no more industrial associations. So let's go with the 15-year plans. Economic dirigism has created plenty of opportunities for corruption and all manners of criminal activities. From now on, the state will reduce its economic intervention to the bare minimum to maintain stability and deter politically unacceptable outcomes. And the Zaibatsu will be free to take the lead in the national economy. So GDP growth will increase by 0.25%, our economy becomes more decentralized by 5%, and industrial expertise social development will begin to worsen. Okay. Now the debt to GDP has finally started to drop. Yearly deficit has also dropped to 0.69% of the GDP. And the corporatism, if we go more decentralized, it increases GDP growth and production efficiency base. Okay. Stabilize trend paramilitary divisions. Okay, so we're eliminating the enemies over here. You guys are also moving. Yeah, these guys will be eliminated. We're gonna take Kendari soon. The moment we do, I'm gonna let the allies to deal with the enemies over here, and we're gonna push across the islands. Okay, we lost some production units. Okay, go, go, go. Come on. Come on. Okay, so they're already attacking them, which allows us to cross. Midnight deployment. Slightly increased security policy effectiveness and political parties policy effectiveness. The moon and the stars glow brightly in the sky above, and the streets' lamps cast their light on a city that bustle even at this late hour. But the real work tonight is being done in the shadows. The Toko agents fan out throughout the city, each unit knowing its mission and its target. One by one, the enemies of Ikeda and Hatoyama's lists awake to the agents of the secret police bursting into their homes. Some try to fight and are quickly subdued. Others rant and rave as their captors. Still others just stare in mute confusion, even as their wrists are shackled. But not a single one escapes. Through decades of experience, the Toko has become brutally effective at suppressing enemies of the state. It is a matter of no great concern to them that they are arresting the highest-profile opponents of a particular diet faction. They simply know that they are bringing men suspected of crimes against the state and the imperial crown in, and that is more than enough for them to carry out their missions with ruthless efficiency. It is the culmination of Ikeda's plan for his political foes, and it goes off without a hitch. The FOD police are on the march. So, okay, let's end it here. And the next one we need to decide what we're gonna do. Maximum investment, high investment. It's green now, so we might actually select the level investment. Okay. We'll decide on that. Poverty rate is still increasing, but academic base is increasing by a decent amount, and administrative efficiency is increasing by 13.66 every month. So within just slightly over a year, we are going to increase our administrative efficiency. The GDP is going to continue climbing from now on as we're going to increase these plans. So yeah, things are looking pretty good. Indonesia will be taken. We just really need to decide whether we focus on Granada or on Italy. Italy would make more sense, but I'm not sure that we can actually do anything with it, because it's gonna require us to fully commit, and with the way the game is treating us, I don't think we'll be able to. So anyway, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next episode.